Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey,
what,
get the
Jamal Murray?
source.
Oh, dude, Jamal Murray's broken.
He's broken? I mean, I know he's not playing well. It's only been a couple games. You know what, though? His splits from regular season to playoffs have always been extreme. Now, no. So said who? Aaron Judge
He was
in the
the
background.
single worst player in the Olympics by a large margin. Canada couldn't even put him on the floor.
I do think I think there's a lot of people taking the points with the Raptors, and I think they're kind of crazy. I don't know. We'll get to that game. What's up, everybody? We got NBA, MLB, NFL in that order. I think tonight's NBA I don't like it. I have 3 bets down. I don't even like any of them. I honestly don't even like any of my bets. And this is the first one. I got Orlando at -5. Can you still get -5? It's 5.5. It looks like. I'm sure if you look, you might be able to still find a -5. So, I mean, spot-wise, I feel like I don't even have to say it because everyone already knows. Orlando as a home favorite, dominant last year. They showed us the other night when they covered. My bad. 1 second. They showed us that that's still a thing against the Nets. They were laying a big number, still covered it. They protect the basket well. Indiana needs to get to the rim and score. Everything Orlando does, this should be perfect. Magic minus the points, but I don't like making a habit of laying points to the Pacers because every single game seems to be close. And if Indiana's catching more than 4, take the Pacers. If they're laying more than 4, take the other team because they're just going to play a close game. So I bet this. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't even like it. I have Orlando -5.
I like it, if that counts for anything.
You're on Magic?
I'm on the Magic with you. So, I mean, this Magic team is a fully operational Death Star. One of the things that I really like looking at, so my Minnesota Vikings, obviously they've outperformed expectations. Think about Stephon Gilmore signing with them. That is a veteran player who's out to win ships. He doesn't really give a shit about anything else at this stage of his career. We're seeing the same kind of thing. KCP chose Orlando. Like, I know that there's money and slight money here and there that can sway you a certain direction, but KCP, he's the veteran presence here now for a locker room in Orlando that has Jalen Suggs. He's tied up, secure, great two-way player. Shout out Minnesota. You know, Jalen Suggs is an absolute stud and, you know, gets 30 mil here a year. Franz Wagner, this is a guy that from a wing perspective, you can't ask for a whole lot more. It was not exciting to see him pop up as questionable on the injury report, but such is life. I still think he plays. Jonathan Isaac when healthy, Wendell Carter Jr., Paulo Banchero. And this Indiana team, I'm not completely sold on the fabric of it. I think they really, really outperformed expectations before getting swept there in that Eastern Conference Finals. But they have so many defensive issues that they just can't be overlooked. So far through 3 games, 1 and 2, 113.2 adjusted defensive rating for me. And that is not going to be ideal against a team like Orlando that, well, should be able to get what they want offensively. And the defensively, this is better than your average Bear. Top 3 so far in adjusted defensive rating Orlando is. So for me, I'm completely with you. I think 5.5 is kind of a gift.
Ronald, you had texted me before saying that you felt the same as me. There wasn't a ton of great action on the board that you were seeing. Is this one of the games you have a bet down on?
No, it isn't. But I think I got you guys brought up a lot of good points, especially Orlando's defense. I think one of the biggest. I don't know if Franz Wagner is officially out or if he's still questionable or whatnot. But I think that might have been the reason why I think it jumped to -7 and come back down. So that tells me he might end up playing. But I think one way to focus in on this would be the Pacers team total under. I think people continue to think that they're going to be a fast-paced team. Their offense is going to turn around at some point. But you guys brought up the Orlando defense. That's what this is what this team is made of. This is what their whole identity is their defense. And if you look at the pace of the Pacers, they're actually bottom 5 in pace right now, and that's surprising a lot of people. And I don't think that it's really hit most better. So I would look towards the Pacers team total under, if anything. My only worry with the spread is I don't know what's going on with Franz Wagner, and also, obviously at some point the Pacers are going to turn things around. There could be a situation where Franz is ill later in the game. He comes out pretty early, and the back door is open. So staying away from the spread, just focusing in on the Indiana struggles on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I like that look. And you got to think if you're Orlando, one of your main game plans going into this is going to be limit the fast breaks, right? Make them play half-court basketball. And I like when you brought up the Pacers' pace because a lot of people confuse fast break frequency and pace. Yeah, the Pacers do run the fast break a lot, but when they set up in the half court, if they take 20 full seconds to take their shot, then they're actually not running a fast pace. So a lot of people confuse that. So I like how you brought that up. It looks like we're
also some situational. I mean, like if you think about their schedule, right? 4th game in 6th night, 3rd game in 4th, back to back. All these things coming off. They went into OT, right? So there's a lot of fatigue factors that come into play as well with the total.
And last year, Indiana Pacers 3-10 against the spread on 0 days rest. That was the worst in the NBA. So blindly fading the Pacers on their back-to-backs was very profitable last season. So let's move on to so I did bet this, by the way. If you're looking to tail by bets, I did bet it. Don't love it.
Indy off an overtime game. That has to make you feel a little better, though.
Yeah, it's just the Pacers. I feel like I feel like I always got screwed trying to lay points to the Pacers. That was in my mind last year. If the Pacers are catching a decent-sized number, take it. If they're laying a decent-sized number, fade it. And so maybe that's completely irrational and not based in logic at all. But I had a good season last year with that mindset. So next up, Wizards Hawks. I mean, how many times are the Hawks going to be laying a big number before we just all join hands and admit that maybe they're just not a very good basketball team? That being said, I'm not betting the Wizards +7. The way I'm looking at this one is, okay, so this one's in Atlanta, right? I want, if the Hawks, these guys play again in, what is it, 2 days? Yes, on Wednesday. That next one is in Washington. What I want is I want the Hawks to blow the Wizards out here, like 20+, and then I'm hoping to get this same sort of number in Washington on Wednesday night, and then I'll take Washington plus the points and Washington money line. So I don't know how you're going to put that on the screen at Prop Beaver, but that's so. I don't know. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm not betting this game. I want Atlanta to win big. If that happens, you have my word. I will take the points with the Wizards on Wednesday, and I will take the Wizards money line on Wednesday. Hopefully, catching around the same number in DC. Prop Beaver's putting my analysis on the screen. Not typing all that. So hopefully you understood what I'm saying. We'll talk about it on Wednesday again. And if Washington plays this game close, covers, or even wins, just throw the plan out the window. It no longer applies. But if the Hawks win and cover, if the Hawks win by double digits here, probably in play. I want them to win by like 20, though. I want them to just rout the Wizards. I want everyone to be like, oh, the Wizards are an auto fade. Never bet this team. And then I want to get this same number in DC. That's what I want. If I get that, we'll be having this conversation on Wednesday.
I'm not betting this trash. Just put that next to me.
I'm betting this trash. Ronald, are you betting this trash?
I'm not, but I think just to give some insights to people, I think the over is the way to go. I think both teams' defenses are trash. Their pace of play is quick. Okongwu, I think he's resting today, so that's going to be a quicker pace game for the Hawks as well. They're going to play small ball. Both teams probably going to play small ball. I think it's just a matter of if they're going to make their shots, right? Both teams, especially the Wizards, they're not an efficient offense. So I think if they're going to be able to score in the paint with Okongwu out, that might help the total. The total is high for a reason. What, 234.5? The only way that I could look is the over. There's fatigue factors on the Hawks side that might hurt their defense, whatever defense they do have. So I would say the over is the way to go.
Yeah, it's hard to see much defense being played. Yeah.
For in-game, if it shows up, I think that they kept Larry Nance out of playing yesterday simply because they knew that they were going to rest Okongwu today. So if there are live numbers that end up showing up for Larry Nance, this is a guy who can really, really get it done in limited minutes. But I bet because Capella, I don't really see him getting just crazy extended. If you're looking at anything to get really, really frisky, if you see Larry Nance get on the floor and they start posting numbers for it, try to jump on some of those props live, but hard to really talk about now because there's a very good chance he also DNPs.
Got it. All right. Next game is Denver, Toronto. Don't have much to say. I kind of want to see what happens in the poll here. Is everyone taking the points of the Raptors? Because I kind of think the Raptors are next level bad, and the whole Denver's trash this year. Russell Westbrook's a scrub. I think that's gotten a little out of hand. It's been 2 basketball games. So I kind of want to play on the Nuggets here and lay the big number just because I think Toronto's tanking already. I think they're tanking. Yes, I know. It's October 28th. It's not even November yet. But yeah, that's where I want to go. You could put Denver -9 up for me. Not betting it. Don't plan on betting it. But that's the way I want to go here. Don't really have much to say.
Weird. We're kind of leaning towards the same thing. I did bet the Orlando one. I did not bet this one. It was at 7.5 last night when I recorded. It's now moving that direction. The main thing I'm seeing here is I think Denver being 0-2, we're going to see those minutes ramped up. So my favorite play from this game is Nikola Jokic triple-double. I think you start getting 36, 38 minutes for the big man early on in the season. And despite what I think about Jamal Murray, there's no doubt that he can still be effective playing alongside the best player in the NBA in space. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon need to step up a little bit here as well. But there is no bench in Denver. You go through this, Julian Strawther is going to have to play meaningful minutes. Christian Brown's going to be playing 30-plus a night in most scenarios. This is a very thin Denver basketball team. There are going to be spots to fade them. It's not with Kelly Olynyk on the shelf, Emmanuel quickly on the shelf here for Toronto. Two guys that I think are paid to be their premier top 3 or 4 guys on this squad, aside from Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. So I'm very much here for Denver if you want to be looking at that. But the only play I have on this one is Nikola Jokic triple-double. We're talking better than plus 240. This is the kind of stuff that you see for minutes Nikola Jokic later down the line in the season, not this early on. But at 0-2, I'm pretty confident they give him unlimited leash.
Yeah, and last year when the Raptors had all those injuries, they were running a ton of possessions, picking up the pace, so should maximize Jokic touches. So Jokic triple-double plus 240. Anything on this one, Ronald?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't bet it yet, but I think, because I don't cap every single game. I cap the games that I have like these, I have a whole system that comes and it just pops up the games that I like. And this one, just off of you guys talking about it, I'm looking at the schedule of Denver and how they've been struggling offensively. They've faced OKC and the Clippers, both top 3 in defensive rating. That could be a huge reason why these guys are struggling on the offensive side of the ball. But you look at the Raptors, they're bottom 5 in defense. They play a fast pace. They play a quicker pace. This is one of those games where Denver could really take advantage of a weaker team. 0-2, they're going to make a message out of this Raptors team, in my opinion. So I could see them winning by double digits, in my opinion. I think matchup-wise, it makes sense. Everyone's kind of undervaluing Denver because of the 2 matchups they had so far in the season. So I could actually get with Denver -9 here, or whatever the number is right now.
Yeah, I think it's, let me check. I think it's still 9. Yeah, it's looking like still 9 mostly. All right, let's move on to the next one. And kind of curious what you guys think here. Cleveland, New York in the Mecca. In my opinion, I don't see how I could responsibly make a prediction in this game because the 2 data points we have for the Knicks are so far apart that I mean, they get run off the floor by Boston as in completely out of position. My thoughts, you guys, if you watch the show, you heard me say it. I said, guys, we're going to need a couple weeks here before we start looking at the Knicks team because they were out of position offensively and defensively. They looked out of sync. They didn't even look like a basketball team. Zero chemistry at all, which, I mean, they have a new rotation. It makes sense. It wasn't completely shocking that they looked like that. But then they come back and they beat the life out of a playoff team in Indiana that I think we all agree is a pretty good team. Maybe a little overvalued. They went on a playoff run against a bunch of injured teams. But, I mean, we still all agree that Indiana is a pretty good team. And the Knicks ran them out of MSG. So this is the 2 data points for the Knicks. This game could land anywhere in between there. They could come out and run Cleveland out of the building, or this game could be 125-98 Cleveland. So I can't responsibly make a bet or a prediction, in my opinion. The thing is, if you put a gun to my head and force me, what do I think is going to happen? I think it stays under, but I'm not. Don't even put that up because the Knicks have shown us they're more than willing to pick up the pace. Cleveland's also been running the score up this year, so I'm good. This is a straight pass. I'm rooting for the Knicks.
Yeah, I'll root for the Knicks with you as well. I'll be super quick with mine. Karl Anthony Towns, I'm not going to play this at all. It was the play that simply is projecting out the best for me, and it's still negative EV. Karl Anthony Towns, 32.5 points plus rebounds. We've had 2 non-competitive games. There are no other bigs. Mitchell Robinson on the shelf, Precious Achiuwa. Sounds like he's going to be 3-4 weeks away from getting back himself. I just hate this game in terms of betting because, the best projected play for me, it's purely minutes and volume, but he's going up against the best defensive front court that exists in the NBA with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So it's going to be a pure pass for me as a game. I think everything across the board looks pretty efficient.
Yeah. All right. So you're feeling the same as me. Got to be a pass. Ronald, anything here?
Yeah, I didn't bet this one either, but I think New York is the side. If you look at Cleveland, I mean, especially early on in the season, you kind of look at these schedules. Cleveland's faced Toronto, Detroit, and Washington. I mean, their numbers are going to be inflated on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, right? So, and I mean, obviously, that's a little bit opposite of what you said with New York, because you saw polar opposites versus Indiana and Boston. But if you just look from just a holistic level, I think that New York is obviously a lot better than what they showed in game one, right? Maybe that was nerves, maybe that was the chemistry that they still need to put things together. But as far as like the number at -2.5, I think that line's telling, just based off of how Cleveland has played in the first week, right? They won by double digits in every single one of these games, and now they're 2.5 point dogs to a team that looked really bad in their first game against Boston. I think the line is telling. I think New York is the side. Like I said, Cleveland's numbers are really inflated right now, so gotta take that and kind of run with it.
I like it, and I also like how we're polling heavy on Cleveland as far as the viewership. Seems like everyone's taking the Cavs here. Everyone's doubting my guys in the Garden. May have to get involved. They have to get involved on the Knicks. Let's move on to the next one. Detroit, Miami. Here's another one of my bets that I don't like at all. Watch this. Prop Beaver's putting up the poll right now. I bet you this shit's going to be 60% Pistons. And I'm not like, I always say this, but I'm not saying like, hey, if you're on the heavy public side, that means you shouldn't be. That's fine. I bet the heavy public side all the time. It's not something I particularly like, especially when this number was 7.5, got bought up to 8.5. It's like, but I am on the Pistons plus 8.5. I don't even want to talk about it. Personally, I mean, the reason for the bet could be described as follows. You don't lay big numbers at home with Miami. You just don't do it because they just don't cover, and this dating back multiple years. Whether it's they play with their food, whether it's they don't know how to play with the lead. As far as the reason for that, open to interpretation. Maybe S-Dot's in the comments can explain why his team's so ass, but you just don't do it. And this Pistons team, we've seen them look pretty pesky in a few of these games. So I bet this. Again, don't really like it. You guys?
I have a weird one here. Do you want to start off?
A weird one.
Really fast. I think the under is the way to go. I think pace of play is very slow on both sides of the ball. If you look at the Heat, their offense is continuing to struggle this year, even with everyone healthy. Tyler Herro's healthy, Rozier, Butler is healthy. Butler kind of looks off, especially in the first half of games. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just trying to let other people get into a rhythm before he gets his. But first half, I feel like is sort of a fade of the Heat right now, especially with the number where it's at. I think that a couple of ways to play this is the full game under or the Pistons in the first half. I still don't think that the Pistons have enough experience to close out games. So that's the reason why I would focus first half than full game.
And if you look at the poll, I was right. Over 60% Pistons, just 22% Heat. And like clockwork, here comes S-Dot in the comments. He said, Wade called out the team. So Dwayne Wade called out the Heat. And to S-Dot, that's meaningful to the outcome of this game.
Should have called out that statue.
Yo, what is that?
Dude, I mean, honestly, it's like...
It looks like a creature.
It's like Dwayne Wade went on a bender and turned 80 years old. Like... It's so weird. Somebody put in the throw the damn towel next to it. And I'm like, it kind of looks more like that guy than Dwayne Wade. Unbelievable.
Lindy, what's your weird one?
All right. So somebody put it in the chat, which is weird. Either they follow me on X or maybe not. I posted this this morning, but last night kind of was scouring through everything. And Bam Adebayo plus 200 popped up for me on one made three-pointer. It's now plus 130. That is a market difference, but we saw a very non-competitive game against Orlando. One of my favorite things to do is when, you see minutes upside that's potentially there, and we've kind of had blowouts temper it down. I think you got to at least look at some of these numbers. I think the more straight play that I have from this one is Nikola Jokic, 15.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. This is a guy who's gone over that now in the last two. Not something I care as much about, but we saw Haywood Highsmith removed from this rotation last game, which was very surprising to me. He played like 30 minutes opening night and then was just removed from the rotation altogether. So Jokic, 15.5 points plus rebounds plus assists, but then Bam Adebayo, the made three plus 130, still somewhat gettable if you want to be going that direction, but it's not nearly as good as plus 200, obviously, but he's now over 4 on the season, but he's been taking 2, talked a lot after the Olympics about how he needed to extend his range and that he needed to start shooting threes and open up some space because, well, that's the way basketball has been moving forever. So Bam Adebayo, I think we're going to see him be a guy who shoots 2 or 3 of them potentially per game. And when you start talking about plus 200 for a guy, even if he shoots around 30% as a barometer for it, you're getting pretty nice value at 2-1.
Jovic over 15.5 PRA and Bam Adebayo to make a 3-point shot. That is a weird one. Someone said the statue looks like Mike Tomlin. All right, let's go.
It does.
Yeah, I never heard that one, but I like as soon as I read it, I was like, kind of does. All right, next up, Milwaukee, Boston. All right, this is another look ahead spot for me betting wise. So personally, I think Boston's about to beat the hell out of them. Milwaukee last year struggled defensively on the perimeter. In case you've never watched the Boston Celtics play basketball before, they're a decent 3-point shooting team. I'm joking. They're like the best 3-point shooting team we've ever seen ever. So, I mean, on paper, Boston should be a terrible matchup for the Bucks, and Boston should put up at least 125, 130 points in this game. Maybe they don't hit 29 of them like they did against the Knicks, but this is a bad matchup for the Bucks. The 3-point shot should be there for Boston religiously in this game. So as far as this game, I probably would lean towards Boston minus 9.5. I didn't bet it because, I mean, the Bucks, we know, are capable of playing with anybody on any given night. And if there were, I believe last year that the Bucks as dogs were actually profitable. I don't even remember. What I actually want to say about this game, if this happens. So let me look up what day it is. So, and I think both these things are going to happen. If the Celtics beat the Bucks here and the Magic beat the Pacers here, I'm going Pacers money line Wednesday night in Indiana against Boston to get their first loss. So hear me out. You don't have to type all this, Prop Beaver. If the Celtics beat the Bucks tonight, which I think they will, they're 9.5 point favorites. If the Magic beat the Pacers tonight, Wednesday night, I'm taking the Pacers plus the points and the money line against the Celtics. That'll be my bet. So that's what I'm looking at, and I'll be hitting that as soon as it opens. If those things happen. That's how I'm thinking. But I didn't bet this one, Boston. I didn't bet this.
Real quick on the Bucks last season, as road dogs specifically, 1-13 straight up, 4-10 against the spread. So they were not good as road dogs.
So I guess not then. Where was I? There was something. Never mind. There was some trend that I liked.
Maybe
but
home dogs? I don't know. Maybe that might be the case. But I think the total on this one's going the wrong direction. I think this is an overtime game. I think Boston still going to continue to make their 3-point shots. What Boston does on the defensive side of the ball terribly is defend the paint. I think they allowed like 50 plus to their last 2 opponents in the paint, Detroit and Washington. In Milwaukee, the way that they're successful is to be able to score in the paint first and get the 3-point shots afterwards. If you look at how much they scored against Chicago and against Philly, a lot of that was because they were able to score efficiently in the paint and open up their offense, right? When they faced Brooklyn in the last game, they couldn't do that. They only scored like 30-something points in the paint. If they're able to get like 50 or 40 plus against Boston, this should be able to help push the pace and get Boston into like a track meet, sort of like a track meet. I mean, Milwaukee does play a quicker pace. Boston typically slower, but with Milwaukee on the second leg of back-to-back games, I could see Boston trying to push the pace and take advantage of tired legs. So a lot of the offense, I feel like, a lot of the matchups between the two teams kind of pushed me towards the over here. 234 was the open, came down to 232.5. Like I said, I feel like it's going in the wrong direction. I think the over is the way to go.
Yeah, I would also lean towards it over because Boston has a tendency to get into these games where they're like, go ahead, take your shots. We're going to take ours and we're going to make more of them. And playing the half-court defensive game just doesn't seem to be in their best interest at times because no one can shoot with them. So I would lean towards an over as well. Lindy?
Yeah, not a ton to go off of for this. I mean, Boston's shooting 44.2% from 3 so far. I mean, just absurd stuff. I mean, there's just guys who can space it out from every single corner. When your entire starting five shoots threes, when Peyton Pritchard off the bench, who I thought was one of the best looking players in preseason, if you watched any preseason ball, Peyton Pritchard was out there just annihilating fools. And I got to say, Boston is one of those teams that we're going to see kind of some artificial wins just from teams resting guys going up against them into the Garden, not wanting to give them their best looks. So that's kind of just, I don't know, that's not my favorite type of analysis to be going towards. I am leaning Boston 9.5. I would be laying it there. They've treated me well the 2 times that I've bet them so far this season, but I don't really see a whole need to go out there. Again, Giannis, he's probable for this one. Would it completely surprise me if out of the middle of nowhere we saw somebody rest on this back-to-back? No, but it's early enough where the minutes aren't ramped up, and we're early enough in this season where, yeah, it might be tired legs for sure. I probably agree with a lot of that analysis too, and that idea of it, but hard for me to pull the trigger here against Milwaukee. As bad as they looked against Brooklyn last night, they're a lot better basketball team than that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the next game, and I think this next one would probably be my favorite bet of the night. That being said, it's my favorite by default because I don't really like any of them. Tonight sucks. But I bet the Rockets -2.5. And like I said, it's probably my favorite bet of the night. The Spurs got them the other night in San Antonio, but it was just a terrible spot for Houston. It was their 3rd game in 4 nights with a travel. They flew from Houston to San Antonio. Not exactly a huge travel, obviously, but it was their 3rd game in 4 nights. Meanwhile, the Spurs were coming off a day off. Now Houston has a day rest, same as the Spurs, team that just beat them. I think we all agree Houston's the better team here. Not disrespecting the Spurs, but I think we all expect the Rockets to have a better record than the Spurs this year. Very doubt they lose 2 in a row to the same team, especially because the first one was in a bad spot. San Antonio outscored the Rockets in the paint. In the first one, Houston, I mean, at times last year was very efficient scoring down low when Şengün's healthy. So, yeah, I expect the Rockets to get their revenge here at a short number like 2.5. I'm cool with it. So, I'm on this one. Houston -2.5.
I can go. So, I actually took the under on this one yesterday, 221. It has come down a bit, but I still think that's the way to go. If you want to pivot, I think Spurs team total under is one way to pivot. A couple of things here. Offensively, I think Spurs are still being overrated just because of who they have on the court, right? All the players, they can name all these names, but at the same time, these are all new to the system. They're all trying to get together and put this offense together on the fly. And if you look at the opposite side, I feel like people are still really undervaluing or underrating the Rockets defense. And if you look at if you just look at the few games that they've had so far, opponents, Rockets under their team total in all 3 games. Pace of play, I think they're both in the middle of the pack. Defensively, Rockets 6th in defensive rating or top 10 in defensive rating. If you look at some of the efficiency numbers, a lot of those 4-factor numbers kind of point towards the Spurs side. But if you look at one thing specifically where the big gap is, it's turnovers and turnover rate forced. They're not turning the ball over. They're not forcing turnovers at any type of high rate. They're turning the ball over at a high rate. So that's more scoring opportunities for the Rocket side. Even if their effective field goal percentage is top 10 in the league or whatever, they're not getting these opportunities because they're turning the ball over consistently. And the Rockets on the opposite side, they're forcing the ball, they're forcing turnovers in the top 10 rate. So if you look at fast break points and all these things, the Rockets transition defense is actually top 3 in the league as far as limiting opponents in fast break points per game. And these things are really are things that don't really, I guess you wouldn't really focus in on in box scores and stuff like that. But most of these things really pointing towards the Spurs to go under their team total just because of, you see Wemby, you see Chris Paul running this offense. Everyone wants to expect points, but it's just not happening right now. And I think until you start to see that offense flow a little bit better, you got to take their team total under.
And something else I wanted to add, if you're a prop person, Spurs have been struggling defensively on the perimeter so far in this young season. Rockets had a poor shooting night in the first leg of this doubleheader here, so I would expect the Rockets to bounce back 3-point shooting-wise. So maybe a Van Vliet or a Jalen Green over 3-pointers made, somewhere in there. Lindy?
I don't hate that look. Not
a prop guy, but I dabble.
Percentage there. Yeah, they're the 5th worst team in effective field goal percentage so far this season. Again, it's super small data sample size, not something to go completely gung-ho about, but when you think about some of the volume, the guys who are going to be shooting the basketball a lot here, I mean, we've seen since day one, Alperen Şengün's shot total has been crashing here as Jalen Green's been just out there chucking. Fred VanVleet, I mean, we'll see. I expect him to have a better season shooting the basketball than last year, but God, so far this season, 36% from the field. He's shooting it better from three than he is overall from the field. So there's some things that need to smooth out in terms of our sample size. The only play that I'm considering, and I still haven't bet it yet, is Victor Wembanyama under 4.5 steals plus blocks, and this is a minutes thing. He's played 28 and 30, and 28 in that first one, kind of limited minutes, and it kind of got me thinking, oh, well, let's see a competitive spot and see exactly what happens, because the tail end of that Mavericks game got weird. He only played 30, so I think Pop's being very cautious with him, coming off of an Olympic summer where he was playing in France, playing a little bit more high voltage ball, and somebody who's built like him. Steven Adams is potentially going to be out there for tonight as well to potentially play 10, 12 minutes instead of Jock Landale as the backup center for Houston. And I think that that's kind of an interesting one where Steve Adams is not going to be out there accumulating usage in his time out there. Not that Jock Landale was either, but you start looking at a couple of those factors that make it maybe 5 cents, 10 cents in your direction. I think Victor Wembanyama, it's just a minutes thing for me right now. If he's not going to have a 34, 35-minute ceiling, we saw this at the beginning of last year. They were very cautious with his time out on the floor. I think everybody's got him a little bit over-projected across the industry, and my favorite of those is the blocks and steals purely because you're getting plus money on it.
All right.
Or you were earlier, and it was plus 105, might be like plus 100.
Do they say stocks? That's the slang for it?
Yep, stocks. Yep.
Let's determine the industry.
Blocks. Yep.
Seems a little unclear.
Prop Beaver knows all things because Prop Beaver is the Prop Beaver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds stupid to me.
Maybe
I'm not a prop guy.
Maybe learn a fucking thing or two.
All right, next game. Chicago, Memphis, with Ja Morant being questionable, makes it a little tough. Jaren Jackson Jr. back on the court, though. Missed the first game or two. I personally think Memphis runs him out of the building. Look really impressive in the Orlando game. But if Ja Morant's not playing, makes it a little tough. I think Memphis could actually cover without him, potentially. So it'll be Grizzlies minus the points for me. But Ja Morant being questionable, I think he's, a hip injury or something? Grizzlies are pass for me. I don't really want to talk about this one.
You want to go first?
Yeah, this one, I don't have anything on this one either. I think if I was to lean in any direction, I think the over is the way to go. Obviously, Triple J is back and their defense should get a little bit better, but they've gone over pretty easily in all their matchups so far, or all their games so far on the season. I think it might take some time for them to put that defense back together. And then on the opposite side, I know Chicago just scored 95 against OKC, but OKC, I mentioned earlier, I think they're actually number one in defensive rating right now in the league. So teams are going to continue to struggle to score against OKC. That gives us a little bit of value. I mean, they scored 133 against Milwaukee. Right now, Memphis's defense is not clicking. So if anything, I would look towards the over.
Over? Okay, I could see that.
I'm on the opposite end of this, actually. So I bet the under 233.5, and I'll give you a couple of reasons. Again, this is good early in the season to talk through some of this stuff because obviously you're very sharp, and I want to just kind of talk through my process of what I'm seeing to see if there's something I've missed. Chicago is awful. They're not going to be a very good basketball team this season. You go get Josh Giddey. That's not a winning basketball player because defensively, too many warts, and he doesn't shoot. In the modern game, if you don't have a ball-heavy, possession-heavy shooter, whether it's Ben Simmons, whether it's Josh Giddey, you're just kind of left on an island. And Ben Simmons can at least play the five. Josh Giddey, he's stuck guarding his position, and that's going to be a huge problem as far as any team that he could fit into. Chicago, though, in terms of pace, they've been number one in the NBA by such an outrageous margin that I almost just don't believe it. 110.7 possessions per 48 minutes through 3 games. That is more than number 2, Memphis, by 5 possessions. So we're looking at this game with the 2 fastest paced teams in the entire NBA going. And we have a Ja Morant questionable tag kind of lingering. So I've got this closer to around 228 currently, purely because I'm adjusting more so for some of the players that were there last year, and then trying to take some of Josh Giddey's metrics and applying it to Chicago on what we could see going forward. They had unsustainably good shooting from Kobe White in that second game of the season. We saw Josh Giddey be able to push the pace, at least in times in New Orleans, but not effectively. They're still shooting it very, very poorly. They're 24th in adjusted offensive rating. So for me, I just see the Ja Morant thing. Scottie Pippen's been awesome, but that's in like a 22, 24 minute a game type situation and sample size. So for me, all of these things kind of combine together to try to put a number attached to it. And it's a very fluid number this early in the season, but with John Morant out of there, I got to think that would only be helpful towards the under. With Jaren Jackson Jr. out there defensively, I got to think that can only be good for the under, considering we'll see him go up by 2-3 minutes each night as we go forward. So a lot of analysis there, but I feel pretty comfortable being on that under.
So opposite
I think, I mean, you bring up some good points about the pace. Obviously, it's not sustainable to go that quick every single game of the year. And also, there is some fatigue factor here, third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6th. Obviously not in the back-to-back, but Chicago has had to travel every single game so far this season as well, right? So that's another thing that could really hurt this Bulls team. So I can see where you're going with it. I made it a case this season to not really force bets where key players are questionable. If they're officially out, I think you can kind of make a case. But when you are waiting till the last 30 minutes or an hour just to figure out whether or not Ja's going to play, those things are just kind of throwaway games for me. Because, I mean, we've done this a lot over the past couple of years. I mean, last season with you, Kyle, when a key player is out, right, typically the role players take that step up in that first game, and you want to back that team. But right now, it's a little bit different when it happens within the 30 minutes of tip-off, right? Those are the games you don't want to run to the window and take right away just because something happened. Those are the funky games you got to stay away from.
And staying away from this. Oh, did we lose Ronald? Oh, no, there he is. He's back. I can't see him, so I'll leave and come back in a second. But let's go to the next game first. So, yeah, I will be staying away from that one. Utah, Dallas, and some things never change. And when I say that, I mean Utah just cannot defend the three-point shot to save their lives. So I believe they're allowing 18.5 made three-point shots a game, which is second worst in the NBA, which is right on par with the kind of basketball team this was last year. Another thing this team was last year was absolutely next level dreadful on the road. They were 11-30, or it might have been 10-31. I think it was 10-31 on the road last year. If you look at the worst road teams in basketball, it's like the worst teams in the league and the Jazz. It's like the Wizards, the Pistons, and the Jazz. The Jazz were so bad on the road. So you got this Jazz team going on the road into Dallas. They're trash on the road. They can't defend the three-point shot. Playing a Mavericks team that loves shooting the three-point shot. So, I mean, I completely understand why this line's at 11.5. In fact, I would lean towards laying it. Don't have a bet in the game, but if I was betting it, I would actually consider laying the 11.5 or doing some kind of something fun, some kind of fun gambling expedition, like maybe like Luka, Kyrie, Washington, and Klay, all to make 2 3-point shots or something, because it should be a 3-point party in Dallas. I'm going to leave and come back real quick because I can't see Ronald. Be right back.
Okay.
Can you guys see me?
Kyle's going to leave and come back in a second.
Oh, okay. Well,
I had to leave and come back a second ago. Go ahead, Ronald.
Yeah, mine is really quick. I think this is going to be a first half look towards the Mavs instead of a full game. This is obviously like my only reason for not taking the full game is just potential look ahead to Minnesota tomorrow. This is to me a clear sandwich spot, right? They just played Phoenix. They lost. They want to bounce back quick, get it started early, and see if they could get their star players some rest towards the end of the game, right? If they're up double digits in the fourth quarter, get them out. Let the bench kind of close it out and win maybe by 9-10 points, right? Like, and then you end up not covering the full game. So I would look towards Dallas in the first half. I have a feeling that they're going to think of this next game against Minnesota tomorrow as a more key game. So that would be the way that I look. I think Jazz is also on the first leg of back-to-back games too. So I from a total perspective, that might mean something with both teams, kind of keeping some of their star players out or limiting those types of minutes. But for the most part, just Mavs early is the only way I could look.
Lindy?
Gave you a weird one. Here's an even weirder one. Klay Thompson under 1.5 assists, -120, sitting around the entire board right now. You could put this on pick'em cards. You could put this in a number of different places where I think it's positive EV. We have now seen Klay Thompson, but I mean, we saw him run around and, score 70 bazillion points in Golden State without putting the ball on the floor. But now he's got Kyrie Irving, and he's got Luka Doncic out there. And when he gets the ball passed to him, it is his job to shoot it. And I was just kind of doing a deep dive on Dallas because I was just curious, how Klay Thompson was fitting in from a fit perspective and, what's going on. And I came across this one, 59 minutes that he has played so far this season in the 2 games the Dallas Mavericks have played. He has 2 assists total, 1 in each game. He has only 2 potential assists total, 1 in each game. It is an unbelievable number. Klay Thompson has not passed the ball on the offensive side more than 4 times in a game so far this season.
What?
These are unbelievable numbers. You go through NBA.com and you go on deep dives like this, and you're just like, I really don't even believe what I'm looking at right now, but it is all right there. You go into the old advanced metrics on NBA.com. You sort that. You can put it into a spreadsheet like I do every single day. And I was just so thrown off by the fact that it had a 1 next to it. And I was like, did I sort this correctly? No, it was per 48 minutes. And then it was per game. And it was the same number. 1 potential assist he is averaging through 2 games. I got to think that comes up. But even if you give him 2 potential assists and double it here, the chances that they still convert it is 50-50 on that if you're saying that they're going to shoot 50% from the field on those 2. And most likely Klay Thompson is passing to somebody else at the top of the key, Luka or Kyrie, who are going to shoot a 3, which, would bring that number even lower. So I love this under for 1.5 on Klay.
Under 1.5 assists. That 2 potential assists is wild.
That's crazy.
I mean,
passing 4 times a game.
I mean, if you
take a look, double check it. I double, triple, quadruple checked it because I couldn't believe that was true.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic on the team, that's 2 very, very ball dominant guards. And when Klay gets the ball, it's usually going to be the tail end of the play to put the shot up. So makes sense. It's just 4 passes.
Yeah, per game.
No, I know.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on to the next one. 2 games left. This one is I mean, do we continue on what we were doing last year, which was blindly take the other side whenever the Kings are laying a big number? I believe it was especially at home. Ronald, do you have any trends on that? Weren't the Kings terrible as big home favorites last year? I remember talking about it. I remember I hit on a Hornets money line against the Kings last year. They were catching like 11.5. Pretty sure the Kings as big home favorites were just horrible. I don't even think they were above 500 winning.
It was 6-2 straight up, 2-6 ATS. So home double digit favorites.
2-6.
2-6 ATS.
2-6 against the spread as home double digit. Can you drop it down to like 6 or more points instead of 10 or more? See if it gets any.
5-11 ATS.
So the Kings at home laying points is a no. Put Portland up. The problem is, I think everyone's taking Portland here, and the line's moving the other way. It just the optics of it. It's 12.5 points with a team that hasn't won a basketball game yet. I know everyone's going to be taking the Blazers here. This number is huge.
They won yesterday.
No, the Kings.
Yeah, they smashed their faces, and it was weird to watch.
The Kings win yesterday.
Yeah, they played them second one of a
back-to-back. Is he talking about Portland? Yeah,
Portland
I was saying the Kings, Lindy.
Oh,
I can't see Lindy now.
My bad.
Damn it, I'll leave and come back. When do you guys go? I'll be right back.
I can go. I actually bet this one. I'm on the opposite side of Kyle. I did take the Kings 12.5 yesterday. If you hear what I was talking about earlier, I kind of look at the schedule and who they played and how they played them. Kings played the Lakers and Minnesota, two of the obviously top tier teams in the West. Now you're facing one of the lower tier teams in the West, coming off of a win, second leg of back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6th. The Kings have the rest advantage, 0-2. Obviously, they have their first leg of back-to-back games, but they're facing Utah tomorrow. It's not like a team that they have to look ahead to and figure out if they, it's not like it's like OKC or something like that they want to match up and kind of, like look ahead to. So I think in this case here, I think it's more of a statement game for the Kings to show out. They're not an 0-2 team, like what their record shows. I think the discrepancy here in scoring and efficiency is going to be towards the Kings side. Some of the numbers are just not, I would say, like inflated just because Lakers score very, very efficiently in the paint. Portland's not that, right? Minnesota, they're very well balanced. Their defense is really solid. They lost to them. Portland, as much as they looked good against New Orleans, I'm very low on New Orleans anyways to start anyway. So I had their team total wins under. I don't think they're a good team. Obviously they picked up DeJounte and all these guys, but they're gonna take some time to gel. I think Portland's numbers a little bit inflated. Golden State, I think I faded them yesterday. I took their wins. I took their points under because their schedule was kind of jacked up. You guys really have to look at who they played in the first 5 games of the season, how they played them, and what's being inflated or undervalued and things like that. And this is, to me, a Kings schedule that's being undervalued. Lakers and Minnesota, top tier teams in the West. They're gonna look bad, but against a Portland team, they're gonna kill them. That's just my look.
I completely agree that the Kings, like, the line makes sense. The Kings are 13, 14 points better than the Blazers, maybe even more so. I completely agree. The first couple of games they played a way tougher schedule. I'm all on board with all of that. I actually didn't bet this anyway, but if I was to bet Portland plus the points, it would be based on the fact that the Kings always seem to fumble these games, not because they don't deserve to be favored by this. That would be my contention.
They have a closer now. DeRozan is a closer.
Fox is a closer too, though. I believe. Weren't they first and second in the league in fourth quarter scoring? I think I saw
first and third. I think. Yeah.
It's almost like problematic because now who do you play through in that last 20 seconds? The guy who's been
Monk.
there forever, or the guy who's been doing it forever?
Malik Monk. You give it to Monk. No one will expect
please do. I have 6-man tickets for my guy Malik, so I need Malik to see the floor a little bit more. I hate to do this because, again, I'm not just trying to say it for the sake of it. I have a small play on Portland plus 12.5 here. I think this is a lot of points to be getting. First off, it's going to be a back-to-back for Portland, but only one guy, Tamani Kamara, played more than 30 minutes yesterday, 31 minutes. DeAndre Ayton played 31. Anthony Simmons did get to 33. But only guy who got up to 34 period was Tamani Kamara. They were able to rest them the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game because it was a complete blowout. They ran New Orleans out of the gym. I think that helps a little bit. That's not really something I'm factoring in all that much. What I am factoring in is how I feel about this Sacramento team, and they're going to have to play their main guys big minutes. This is a very thin basketball team, kind of what I was talking about with the Knicks, where there's not a lot of depth beyond your first 6-7 guys. I mean, we're going to see Malik Monk play 28 minutes a game. Trey Lyles is still going to play that 18, 19 minutes a game. And then it's like Alex Len and Jordan McLaughlin showed up for a total of 12 minutes last time out against the Lakers. But for the most part, there were no meaningful minutes going to anybody outside of their main core 6 guys. I mean, Malik Monk and then the starters. I mean, it is going to be really tough sledding, I think, for Sacramento to keep the momentum going from the last 2 years, having to play this construction of a basketball team where, I mean, say what you want about Harrison Barnes. I think he's a better defender than DeMar DeRozan. And considering you have 2 really good on-ball players in Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, I don't like the construction of this team for Sacramento. I really don't like the acquisition. I get that you have to try to make something work because you've really tied your hand to Fox and Sabonis. But in terms of defensive efficiency, Domantas Sabonis had his best career year and was still a net negative last season as a defensive player. I find it so hard to overcome when you start running through iterations of this lineup. I think for security purposes, getting 38, 40 out of your starters, just like the Knicks in the regular season, that's going to feel better than it's going to feel, in the postseason when everybody else starts to ramp up minutes and you have to stay the same. But I think in this specific spot with Portland, I do think Ayton is going to still be serviceable, the same was he was in the second half of last season. I think we're going to see Murray be a fun talking point of this game, but overall, I think Chris Murray can be okay in that 15, 18 minutes a game off the bench. And Scoot Henderson couldn't have possibly been worse last season. There's only a ceiling for him going up. So I know we've talked a lot about it, but Portland plus 12.5. It's my smallest play on the card, but I still think it's worthy of it. And
you mentioned Portland on a back-to-back. They were actually 10-3-1 against the spread on no days rest last year. Second best team in the NFL. Wow. In the NBA. In the NFL. Portland, really good.
Here's my pushback real quick on that one, Lindy, just because we're on opposite sides.
I love it.
I think the 2 biggest factors for me was transition offense and then points off turnovers. Those were the 2 biggest factors that led me to the Sacramento side. If you look at fast break points, Sacramento first in the league in fast break points per game. You look at the Blazers, 29th in allowing, right? So those are quick opportunities, quick chances for this Kings team to really take advantage. Also, points off turnovers, fourth in the league for the Kings, and 25th in allowed points off turnovers for the Blazers side. And I mean, those are like what 20, 25 points per game, but those add up in the long run. And then as far as like points in the paint, Trailblazers paint attempts, fourth in the league in paint attempts, but their efficiency is very low. It's 48.65% field goal percentage within the paint. So whether they're, even if Aiden gets his opportunities, they really struggle as far as being efficient. And the the Kings don't send opponents to the free throw line a lot. So things that the Blazers did well against New Orleans in the last couple of games, it's a totally different matchup for the Kings.
Yep, definitely. And I think Sacramento definitely has one talking point for what you said. They don't put them to a line a lot. 88% made free throw percentage against. That's such a loud number. That has to go back towards the middle. I mean, that's irrational. So I think that those are some really good points on your end too.
Next up, Lakers, Suns. I mean, we know what the move is here. You lay the points with Phoenix, but I'm not doing this again. I'm not losing. I had such a good NBA season last year. If the Phoenix Suns didn't exist, it would have been a much better NBA season. They were my least profitable team by a long shot. This team is a cancer to my bank account. And what do you know? I put a full unit on them against the Lakers in the first one. I'm not doing this again. I'm not this. What do you guys think of this game?
I was on the Lakers, and then now I'm going to be on the Suns. I did take the Suns minus 2.5. I mean, first game on the road here for the Lakers, third game in 4 nights. I think Suns are also in a fatigue spot, so I can see why people would potentially be on the under here. But I just feel like the Suns should be able to take advantage at home. And also like the adjustments, right? The adjustments, I feel like Phoenix are going to make that. As far as like being able to limit the points in the paint, because that's all really the Lakers did in that first game, right? I think the Lakers are first in points in the paint per game in the league, like 60 plus. If they could try to limit that and force them to shoot the 3 ball, which they are making an emphasis of shooting more threes, they're just not doing it as efficient as they want to. So I think Phoenix forces that, and I think the adjustment process, road to home, coming off of a nice win there, get some momentum on their side. Phoenix should be able to hopefully get the win here and take that spread.
Yeah, you could put Suns up for me too. It's my confidence is down, my self-esteem is down whenever I see this Suns logo. Is Bradley Beal not playing? Because honestly, if he's not playing, I might bet it. Because I don't know what this dude's doing out on the court, and I'm not the type of person that like insults players or anything like that, but. Man, oh my God! I almost whipped something through my television. So I'm leaning on the. If it wasn't the Suns, I would have a bet on this game. But this team is a cancer to me. Lindy,
I lean the Lakers, but I'm not going to bet it. Everything you said. I mean, the Bradley Beal thing, falling one way or the other. I mean, what are those minutes replaced by? It's replaced by Grayson Allen, a little bit more off of the bench. He's been awesome in his son's tenure. I think probably very, very underrated for how good he was. I mean, last season into this year, at the beginning of the year, made great adjustments in terms of his shot, and he just makes everything. It feels like every time you watch Suns games, Grayson Allen's knocking down corner threes and making turnovers to end out games and making the right plays. But Royce O'Neal, this is kind of an interesting one for me. I think eventually they're going to have to just take him and play him 30 plus minutes a night. If Bradley Beal is not knocking down shots, I think that just makes sense. Get a bigger body out there to help on LeBron. He just has to be the guy out there. They really don't have anybody else that kind of fits the profile of somebody that they could throw out there on LeBron for however many minutes. With Jones, Beal, Grayson Allen, and Devin Booker lineups, you're just running into a stone cold disaster if the Lakers go big. And the Lakers are just naturally big with Rui Hachimura being a guy who's playing the de facto 3 at a lot of points in time. So for me, it's the Lakers. I'm just going to be staying away from it, though, most likely.
I want to bet the Suns. I want to do it. We'll talk later. Well, I'll let you guys know.
You want to out of there in order to do it, is what you're saying.
It's just like I can already see myself like 11:40 p.m. sitting at the TV like, why did I do this? What the hell? Like, why did I do this again?
I get it.
Oh, that's the last NBA game. So Ronald's Twitter name is UCapper Sports. It's right beneath his name. He also has a YouTube show. Well, actually, his YouTube show comes back in a few days. You haven't been doing the show recently, right?
November 1st, I'm starting the show back up. We'll see. I don't know. We kind of been talking offline, Kyle, to see what we want to do, if we want to put it on your channel or not.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm cool with it.
I'm looking for. We'll talk after. Yeah, but so yeah, that's his Twitter. He tweets out when you're going to be able to find him. He guest spots all over the place. So be sure to give him a follow. Ronald, anything for the World Series of the NFL before you bounce?
NFL, I already actually played a couple spots. I can give one out. Here, let me see. I did take the Commanders -3 for next week in the NFL.
Oh, I was going to say like Commanders. What? Oh, for next week.
Yeah, the NFL. You kept saying NFL today, so
I meant the Monday Night Football game tonight.
Yeah, no, I didn't bet today's game for NFL, but I did already bet. I actually have 4 games up already for next week in the NFL. Kind of take advantage of those lines when you can. Same thing with NBA. Like I think you got to just move quick, because I was able to get the Spurs Rockets at 221. You see it at 218.5. And if you do your own work, you do your own research, you're able to capture these numbers a lot quicker. But yeah, I mean, that would be one of the plays. I think you could pivot and take that Spurs team total under as well. Also, the Celtics and the Bucks to go over 232.5 is another one. Suns 2.5, and then the Kings. So that's all 4 of my NBA plays today that I just gave out.
Cool. All right, man. Talk to you soon. I'll hit you in the message later.
Meet you, Ronald.
World Series. You never met Ronald before, Lindy?
Never met Ronald. No, never once. It's great to meet him.
Yeah. World Series. All right. Let's bring on toast. Yeah, you've missed some funny comments, Lindy, in these playoffs. Toast went through a cold streak, and
it's like such an exaggeration.
I don't know why it's so funny. I love when Toast goes through a cold streak. It's weird though, because he hasn't DM'd me for the last couple, so he must be doing okay.
He's back now, but there was like 5 days where he lost. Like it was a bad stretch there, and the comments were.
I lost because Scooble gave up 5. The Yankees gave up a walk-off. I mean, it's really – Detroit lost a game. I mean –
he was getting accused of blindly fading the Dodgers, too, which was funny. That was a funny narrative. So, anyway, here we are. Toast. Who do you like?
Okay. You guys seriously suck. Okay.
You like the Yankees, don't you?
I do not like the Yankees.
You're special, and everybody loves you.
Yeah, I wish. Dodgers first 5 is my favorite bet. Dodgers first 5 money line at plus 125, and then Dodgers team total over 3.5 for a full unit. Walker Buehler over 4.5 Ks at plus 132. I really like Walker Buehler. I really like him in this setting. Walker Buehler has a ton of postseason experience. Not to mention the fact that his last trip on the road, we saw him in New York against a very hot Mets team, go 4 innings, didn't give up a run, had 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Walker Buehler loves to pitch in the cold. I know that it's not like freezing cold in the winter in New York right now, but it is significantly colder than it is in LA right now. And I trust what Walker Buehler has shown us his last 3 starts, 2 of them against the Padres, 1 of them against the Mets. He had 1 really bad inning against the Padres. Besides that, Walker Buehler has been pretty flawless over his last 3 starts against lineups that I right now, in this point in time, trust and did at the time more than the Yankees lineup. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I do have a whole bunch of props as well. I've already posted them, but I don't want to deal with why I'm playing the Dodgers first 5 and not the full game is that I do start to worry about the Dodgers bullpen a little bit. Blake Triton has been really good for them. He's also pitched 55 pitches in the last 3 days, and his last 2 times out have been a little bit shaky. He's gotten the job done. Actually, he didn't get the job done last time, but they ended up bringing in Vesia. But regardless, the Yankees have seen him a lot, and a guy like Kopech has been good, but I don't really put too much stock into him as far as closing out games. I know that he's been really good, but this is the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. For all the for how bad that the Yankees have been, I still think that they hold a little bit of an advantage later on in this game, especially the fact that they haven't used Tommy. They've only used Tommy once. They used Cousins a lot. They've only used Weaver once. So I do think there's a small advantage to the Yankees at the back end of this ball game, but there's no chance in hell I'm laying -140 to -150 with this Yankees team. There's no chance in hell. So I'll focus on Schmidt over Walker Buehler over Clark Schmidt, and I will worry about the Dodgers scoring runs, but I don't want anything to do with the Yankees at that price.
Yeah, I'm going to copy paste the same thing I've said both games of the series. Dodgers, because the Yankees probably wouldn't be a top 6 team in the NL. The AL is inferior. This World Series runs to the NL. I'd be taking any NL team over any AL team in this series. Phillies, Padres, yes, even the Phillies. Padres, Braves, Dodgers, Mets, doesn't matter. They're all better. AL's trash. Dodgers.
Good cap.
In depth.
Way to go. You really showed them. I'm going first 5 money line Dodgers +124 here. Let's go through Walker Buehler a little bit, because I think some of the issues that he was having when he got lit up for like infinity runs in that second inning in San Diego, not overblown by any means, because I was on the let's attack Walker Buehler big time train and ended up making a lot of money on that game. Was really happy, but I think I got pretty lucky, because we were talking about a guy who started to get his knuckle curve going a little bit. And this is going to be the big pitch. And I think it's going to be the closeout pitch for guys like Aaron Judge and a lot of these righties. You look at the location where he was pitching some of these going on, like over the course of the last couple of weeks, he was still rusty. He was still working himself back in at the tail end of the regular season into the postseason. And this knuckle curve, getting it to go to like 78 as opposed to 76. I know that doesn't sound like much, but we saw his fastball finally get back up to like 94, 95, almost 96 on the gun at times last time out. And that is just market improvement from like 93, 94. Again, 1-2 miles per hour in baseball for a pitcher is day and night, especially for a guy like Walker Buehler. He's not going to overpower anybody. He used to be able to. That was his calling card, but he's learning how to pitch. He's learning how to be able to change eye levels and change planes. And he did a really good job of it last time out. Almost so much so that like I knew it was going to be weird to go and completely flip, where I was like so against Walker Buehler. And then I felt like I got really lucky because of the way he pitched in that 3rd, 4th, 5th innings. Just seems like he wasn't as sharp there. But San Diego, they don't really strike out. We know that for a fact. If he can get some freebies here, I've entertained the 4.5. So hearing that Toast is on that as well, I think I'll add that to the card. But currently the only thing I have from this game, it is that first 5 money line. FanDuel +124 is where I played that. I see +125 in the graphic. That's available at ESPN Bet. If you're one of the 8 people not limited over there, congratulations to you. Play it there.
I don't know why you guys would limit it to the first 5 when Klay Holmes pitches for the Yankees.
Because I explained.
I have a tough Clark Schmidt. So Clark Schmidt is a tough handicap, mainly because everything you said is like spot on. I went through like strength of schedule for Clark Schmidt because we don't have a ton of sample size from this year, 18 starts. He's faced on the road Houston, Cleveland, Baltimore, Tampa, Minnesota, San Diego, Chicago Cubs, Seattle, Kansas City, Cleveland. Those were all road starts. Pretty easy little strength of schedule there. At home, it's ridiculous. Toronto, Tampa Bay, Oakland, Detroit, Seattle, Boston, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Is there an easier home schedule for 7 starts than what I just rattled off?
No.
Right.
No. And that's where I just think Clark Schmidt is the guy I want to take advantage of in this one, because I don't know what to make of him. That is one of the easier home strengths of schedules that I've ever seen for a starter in the World Series or in a playoff game. So for me, that was kind of the handicap for first 5, if I'm just explaining my work.
And just to put it in a 30,000 foot view, at home as far as splits are concerned, at home, Walker Buehler giving up a 250 batting average, nearly an 800 OPS, and about 170 plate appearances, 180 plate appearances on the road. Much better. 211 batting average, 575 OPS. I mean, the OPS plus is 63 compared to 118. He's just been a completely different pitcher on the road than in a Yankee Stadium. Not to mention the fact of who he's faced in Yankee Stadium as well.
All right. Let's talk Monday Night Football. Prop Beaver, I'm going to send you an image that I need you to put on the screen. It's some analytics.
Did you guys know that since 1992, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 21-1 at home on Monday Night Football?
Mike Tomlin, GOAT coach, you know.
I can't
You know
stress
who is the real GOAT? Chris Boswell.
I can't stress how little I care about that stat.
How many kicker props are you on tonight?
Just one. The GOAT.
Just one.
Chris
Just
Boswell.
He calls him Big Boz.
I do.
You know what? His wife doesn't call him Big Boz. So there you go. You can
He calls
be the
him
lover. Oh my God.
I'm taking Boswell under field goals.
I dare you.
I'm not betting that.
Probably get like plus money too.
Yeah, sharp. All right, later, Toast.
Later, guys.
That was good to see you, bud.
You too, brother.
All right, so I'm going to address the accusations. Number one, just because I hit a bunch of dogs Sunday, I'm not blindly betting the underdog here because of that. At the Browns, the Jags, the Colts. So people are accusing me in the comments of just taking the underdog because I hit a bunch yesterday. It's not the reason. The reason is I don't know how he could lay 6 points when Russell Wilson is going to be in panic mode all game. The Giants have a top 5 pass rush in the NFL, and the Steelers' offensive line is decimated. That's a fact. They're missing 3 starters, and that the Steelers' offensive line has not been good. That's why they can't get the run game going. That's why even though the Steelers won and looked great against the Jets, Russell Wilson was still pressured on almost 48% of his dropbacks last week. It's because, or I think it was 46%. I'm sorry. It's because that Steelers' offensive line is in disarray right now. It's terrible. So we have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL against an offensive line that's been awful. And that's what I'm playing here. You just can't lay 6 points with that. Now, as far as the Giants offense, do you have my analytics to put on the screen? Okay. So it's a graphic I want you guys to see. So it's a lot of numbers. One sec. All right, so yeah, put them up, please. As far as the Giants' offense against the Steelers' defense, obviously we know Andrew Thomas is out. The Giants may be missing their other tackle. Obviously, we know they're on the road in Pittsburgh against T.J. Watt, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. But Daboll has showed us he knows how to coach in these situations. He knows how to put his offense in position where the ball's out of Daniel Jones' hands in just seconds. In fact, what was Daniel Jones' best game of the year? On the road in Cleveland against the best pass rush in the NFL. Probably one of the best. It's probably either Pittsburgh or Cleveland, to be honest. But that was Daniel Jones' best game of the year. On the road in Cleveland, catching a similar number to this. Played great. 109 passer rating in the game. In fact, he's played great in all 3 of his road games this year. On the road this year, Daniel Jones, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. At home, 0-4. He hasn't thrown a single touchdown pass at MetLife this year, but his 3 road games, it wasn't Daniel Jones playing quarterback. It was Daniel Bones. Bones comes out on the road. I expect to see a lot of quick releases here. Sprint right, 3-step drop, get the ball out. 3-step drop, get the ball out to the flats. Get the ball out to the sideline. Sprint left, get the ball out. Ball's going to be out of Daniel Jones' hands quickly. I have 3 bets open in this game. Giants +6. Sprinkle on the Giants money line. And Wan'Dale Robinson over 32.5 receiving yards, which I'm told is gone. Last night I got it at 32.5. I'm told you can't get that anymore. What's it? Let me look up what it's at now. Let's pull up Odd Chopper. 1 second, sorry.
Let's go to our friends at Odd Chopper.
Thanks to our friends over at Odd Chopper. Total receiving. Prop Beaver says he likes the receptions better than yards, but I disagree.
I'm not playing that at all. I think that's a full-blown trap. So
a trap?
Yep.
How is it a trap? It's at 30.
I'll explain later.
It's at 39.5 now. 7 yards of CLV.
When I go into my spiel later, I'll explain.
All right. Well, can you put my picks up, please?
I'm trying to. There's no money line graphic for you. Somebody forgot to put it there.
Can you put my Wan'Dale Robinson?
I will.
Call him out. Call him out.
All right. So, yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson, too. Mm-hmm. All right. Lindy, what are your thoughts on this football matchup?
Oh my God. First
You can
off,
get rid of the
Godspeed to all of us. This is going to be real fun and entertaining. Can't wait to watch Pittsburgh blitz Daniel Jones and him have that goofy look on his face for 40 dropbacks tonight. That's pretty good, Beaver. That's exactly the Daniel. That was the Daniel Jones. Dude, the Daniel Jones. Who? Daniel Jones. Who? I'm done. We're going to go to Daniel Jones rushing, 25.5 rushing yards here. Starting quarterbacks up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Atlanta, week 1. Kirk Cousins sitting there with a gimpy leg. The Achilles still wasn't right. Flat zero there. Chargers, week 3. Flat 0. Justin Herbert, they just basically ran the ball ad nauseum. Week 5 it was, going up against Dallas. 3 rushing yards. Dak Prescott. I think we realized he's not going to be out there rushing in his lifetime. Las Vegas and the Jets, the last 2, another flat zeros. But we had 27 rushing yards for Joe Flacco out of the middle of nowhere there in week 4. And in week 2, Bo Nix, who I think can get after it a little bit there, 25. This is going to be, I think, a part of what they need to do in order to move the ball against Pittsburgh. And that is utilize Daniel Jones in any way, shape, or form. You should no longer be trying to protect this guy as this massive asset. At this point, if something happens with Daniel Jones, you can move your franchise along. But you need to do everything you possibly can to just keep this pass rush at bay. And I think one of the main ways you do that is simply drop back Daniel Jones taking off a couple of times within the course of this game. And again, it's something that Dable isn't completely immune from. And it's not something that I'm going to say I need to be going and getting 40, 50, and I want to be betting all the alts. No, I just simply put him in for basically 4 rushing attempts. That has him clearing this number here in some scramble modes. I find Daniel Jones to be too low listed at 25.5 here in a game that is really, really brutal, and they'll do anything they can, outside of Malik Neighbors. I mean, Malik Neighbors is an absolute god, and I'm such a stand for him. Don't know what to make. Only 8 targets, 4 catches last time out. Maybe just slowly getting him back, or maybe limiting him because, well, where are the Giants going here at this point in time? Don't have to just go out and get your star entity at wide receiver hurt the rest of the way. But Daniel Jones, 25.5 rushing yards, my favorite play from this one.
Daniel Bones, 24.5, 25.5 rush yards. Prop Beaver?
Yeah. So my favorite play in this ball game is going to be, let me go the opposite way.
By the way, I saw you had a good day yesterday.
No, I didn't. I finished in the red.
I sure didn't at the tail end. I started 5-2, and then the afternoon happened.
The comments were very positive about your bets yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the bets I delivered most passionately hit, which is always fantastic.
People like the passionate bets.
It just, I think the way I wind up going about my bets, like I laddered AJ Brown, that didn't wind up hitting. Just some of the way I went about my bets didn't wind up. I barely lost units. I think I lost like 0.2, but didn't want it being a winning day due to Dak Prescott. Absolute disgrace. Thanks, Dak. So yeah. Tyrone Tracy over 11.5 receiving yards, going back for redemption today. Really like this play. Malik Neighbors been one of the most dominant receivers in the league despite being a rookie to this point. But now he's going to face Steelers defense that allows the 3rd most yards per game, fewest targets per game, and sits 2nd in DVOA against wide receiver ones, with Dante Jackson Jr. performing like one of the best corners in the league thus far. And on top of that, we look at Neighbors' target share. That plummets from 40.5% when Daniel Jones is kept clean to 23% when he's pressured. Look at that Giants O-line last week. It was an utter atrocity in their first game without Andrew Thomas. He was pressured on 50% of his dropbacks, sacked on 7 of them. That was just 30 dropbacks. Now he's going to face the Steelers defense that's 4th in pressure rate and 1st in pass rush grade. On top of that, we got Wan'Dale Robinson's receptions line either juiced at 4.5, a number he smacked his last 8 and 9 games, or at 5.5 at plus money, a number he's over his last 4 or 5, averaging 7. I mean, what are the Bucs? A charity? That just doesn't make much sense to me. If neither of those guys are contributing here, and the Steelers also have an elite rush defense, how on earth are the Giants moving the ball here? Well, I think one way is with rookie running back Tyrone Tracy Jr. Even with the return of Devin Singletary last week, Tracy led the backfield 67% of the snaps, 2nd highest total of the season. And if he's going to be the leading back here, then there's some serious value here against the Steelers defense, whose lone weak spot, well, has been defending running backs through the air. The Steelers have allowed the 5th most yards per game, Two running backs through the year at 40.2 and sit 30th in DVOA in this spot. For Tracy to record 2+ receptions here on Caesars is -190, and running backs with 2+ receptions against the Steelers are 7-1 to the total, averaging 36 yards per game. An opposing running back has hit this mark in all but one of those games. Who didn't hit the mark? The all-inefficient J.K. Dobbins. The icing on the cake here for me is the fact that the Steelers are playing cover 3 at the second highest rate in the NFL, 47% of their snaps. Why is that key? Tracy owns a 12% target share and 2 yards per route run against cover 3, both third on the team. That is double both of his overall marks on the season. I think with dimes, bones, whatever the hell you want to call them, needing to get the ball out quick here, I think we again see Tracy getting involved and over the mark here after barely going under in a much worse matchup next week against the Eagles, who run cover 3 at one of the lowest marks in the league.
Well, there you have it. That was passionate.
I'm
hella
so
passion, so
terrified
it's
of the
got to
snap
win.
counts. Running back, it was 28-3, not even remotely close football game. I have no idea what to make of Devin Singletary's workload in this game. I think that's the hardest thing for me to project is like Giants running backs. I just went 50-50 Najee, Jalen Warren, but I have no idea how to do Tracy and Devin Singletary.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the good news for me is that I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, even with Singletary, there were some games where he had like a 24% snap share and still had, I think it was 17 and 16 receiving yards. So I think that even if his role is reduced here a bit in terms of snap share, let's say it goes from about 67% to about 50-50 here, I think the main snaps he is going to be on are intended passing down. So yeah, I mean, I still think that he clears this mark. I mean, 11.5. I think it even went down to 10.5 on some books. I think we're just talking about, as I said here, 2 receptions against this defense. I mean, the linebackers, Patrick Queen, great rush defender, not really great in terms of coverage. So I think Tracy, a guy who started off his college career, I mean, all the years except his last year in college, this guy was a receiver. I think he's more than capable of getting us those 12 yards here.
All right,
Landon Roberts isn't going to keep playing this well either, for what it's worth.
I like Landon Roberts. Landon Roberts slander?
Oh, come on.
I'm fading Russell Wilson against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL with no offensive line. That's what I'm fading. I'm not fading Landon Roberts. It's my guy.
You're not fading Daniel Jones without his 2 tackles against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL?
Daniel Jones is a fade. Daniel Bones.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh,
Daniel
different
Bones.
guy come Halloween.
On the road, Daniel Bones.
Oh, he's dressing up as Bones tonight.
In MetLife, Daniel Jones. Let's do the
Thursday night football on Halloween. That's weird. I just put those 2 together.
Movie. All right, let's do
the Jets are laying too. Hit the song. Yeah, the Jets are laying.
That's an even scarier Halloween tale.
They opened as 1-point dogs, and they're now laying, which means action came in on the Jets. Like that opened up, people went and hammered
people
the
really
Jets.
don't like money. How much do the books love the Jets?
Well, I'll tell you this. Right? The Jets defense significantly better at home. And this is from somebody who despises the Jets, truly have the highest level disdain for them. But I think I want to bet the Jets this Thursday.
I kind of do too.
NFL teams were 750-0 with the 250 yards or less of total offense, and like something else, there was one other factor going into it. And now 750-1 is the Jets are the only team to lose.
That's Jets ball, baby.
Wow.
We break records. We're defining.
We break records.
What it means to be utterly pissed.
All right, I'm gonna start doing the community parlay now.
And regarding an underdog, I wanted to get an underdog out for you guys for this game, but then I looked at the Steelers props and I was like, I'm not going to put something out that I don't like for you.
And you were like, nah?
And I was like, hell no. We'll wait till the Thursday game.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can see he is the one. A lot of people don't believe that he's really the one that records the songs for the show. No, that's really his voice. Yeah. He's still working on a new. He's working on a new NBA single.
I just need a market to really speak to me.
Well, I was thinking because we take a lot of moneyline dogs, so maybe like a dog song.
That's not a market that speaks to me.
Well, we can't make a song about something we don't bet.
Okay, yeah, you need to get guests on, then you need to start betting something, all right?
I just gave you something.
That's not something that everybody bets. Yeah, we bet a lot of money line dogs. No,
what are you talking about? Yeah, I do.
Don't. You're forcing it.
What do
You
you
started
wanna
betting
do?
a lot of money like
What do you wanna
dogs in
do?
the
How
NFL
about
this
this?
Sunday.
Make
That
a
is
tackle
something
assist prop song then.
tackle plus assist. Okay, I
I
could.
tailed that last week. It didn't go well. I didn't.
Oh, the
I
Dueling
was not very
Dragons?
happy.
The Dueling
Oh.
Dragons was the most abysmal display of tackle and assist capping
my
on
shit.
planet Earth. It was
One that
actually
had
embarrassing.
2 was projected for 8.5. The other guy had like 16. It was like Roquan.
Yeah, it
had
was
2
like-
tackles or
and
something.
it was
I
guess
like,
which one is which.
Jesus Criminy.
Celtics money line is the first leg.
Yeah,
Did the community parlay hit 2 days in a row? I think. I think it's hit 2 days. The community is red hot.
I don't know. Lindy,
I feel like every time I come on this show, I hear the community's red hot.
It's been hot for like 2 weeks now. Well, I don't know if it hit. I'm going to look it up in a second. Let me get the next poll.
I've been pretty
Sports
good.
Equinox.
I've been
That's
pretty
what it
good at not getting mad at losing bets, but when the Dueling Dragons were dueling, I was seeing red. It was pretty bad.
Andy came in. Andy comes into work before Prop Beaver does, and when Andy came in and brought up, he was that the one guy. He took his under, and he had
I
like
took Roquan
7
Smith's
tackles in
under.
the first quarter.
Yeah.
We laughed for like 3 straight minutes.
He said, "I've never seen somebody more all over the field," and he was deadly accurate. I mean, Roquan Smith was.
It was Patrick Queen.
No, it was Roquan Smith.
It was
No,
Roquan
it's
Smith.
Roquan Smith
Yeah,
was
I
truly-
tailed it.
I've never truly seen. It was like somebody on the other field called his mom like a whore or something. It was crazy.
Sorry, Beaver. I'm gonna bill you $25 for the next show.
It was so hilarious.
It'll be okay.
Andy,
It was pretty funny to see.
he takes Roquan Smith's under and tackles. Dude, like breaks his single season tackle record.
It was
like,
the
7
second
in the
highest of his
first
career,
quarter.
18.
It was,
It was 18. Yeah, I laughed. I looked at that one for a while. It was enjoyable.
it was awesome. Cavs money line is the second leg. Prop Beaver, they picked a dog.
Yeah, that broke my spirit a bit.
Okay, you bounced back. You're
And,
here.
Andy goes, I've never seen somebody more all over the field than Roquan Smith in that game.
Oh my god.
Triple double song, someone suggested. I feel like I never bet
That's what
triple
I
double.
suggested as well in triple double.
No, but that's what someone suggested in the comments.
It's beautiful. The triple double song sounds like you could have some fun with that one.
That's what I'm saying.
That honestly sounds like a banger. If you're trying to make it in the music industry, I mean, that's the next foray.
Yeah, maybe a triple double song.
I could do that. It needs to be something special.
Well, I feel like it has to come to you. You can't force it.
That was the main thing that originally did, and you were like, nah. You dismissed it.
Beaver
Like
and I are going
like
to start a
rap-
band. I play piano and guitar. We'll do it.
I used to play the drums, so
Go,
okay,
Beaver.
that's like 3 instruments right there.
Oh my god, we're covered. We
Exactly.
have a band.
Yeah.
Wanna go meet-
Last leg of the community parlay. Cast your votes. Oh, by the way, Lindy, want to tell them where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, hop over to oddshopper.com and then Oddshopper YouTube channel. I think it's always a great companion piece with Kyle's videos. He does an awesome job. We both do night before, and there's a reason for it. We want to get early to lines. We want to help you guys find some closing line value on stuff. You know, the Bam out of Io plus 200 turning into plus 140. We have tails where you can basically find a number of different people, myself, DK, DFS, a lot of different sharp people across the community. You can find us in one easy to find spot, and you can just basically tailor picks. As soon as we have a bet, it goes exactly live in the bet tracker there, so you can keep track of us. And yeah, would love to have you guys just smash the like button for Kyle. Keeps on crushing, my guy.
Yeah,
You're at 100K now, aren't
We're
you?
about to. We're at 99.8 right now. So
Sub. If you aren't subbed and you're 1.7K people in the chat, just click sub right now for my guy Kyle. It's
yeah,
as
we're about
easy
to
as
hit
that.
100. I mean, I'm sure we'll hit it at some point today.
We're going to do the live Diddy-thon once we reach 100K, right?
Oh Jesus! You can't say that. You can't.
Come on.
Prop Beaver. What,
Dude, it's
who are-
2024.
We were having such a clean family
But it's
program.
2024.
I didn't even swear the whole show.
All right, so the final leg of the community parlay is Magic money line.
All right, so we got the Magic? Okay.
someone in the comments want to shout out the odds.
I'm trying to get him.
Someone says, why is Wandale Robinson a trap? And that's a really good question because it's not.
Okay, in my humble opinion, when the books are giving you a line at plus money that has such a nice recent hit rate, in my humble opinion, it's a trap.
That's why I got 8 yards of CLV because it's
Honestly,
a
you probably have a better prop hit rate than me on the fucking season anyways. I hate this
well,
sport. I
yeah.
hate life. I hate life. I hate everything. Put a
Maybe
tarp
you should
over
stop
me,
giving
shoot me.
your bets names like Dueling Dragons.
Put a tarp over me, shoot me. I'm trying to get the odds.
Dingies, more like it, bro.
Plus 870. We have 2 dogs in this. Very nice.
Plus,
community.
no, Mavs. Oh,
Mavs,
what's the
Cavs.
fourth leg? Oh, Magic. No, there's only one dog. Cavs.
Are the Mavs not a dog as well?
No, the Mavs are laying like 12 points.
Yeah, dude,
I must have. I
literally
clicked the
laying
Mavs
the-
from
They're laying the
tomorrow.
farm.
Damn, no one's shouting out the odds. I'll do it real quick.
I got plus 358.
Oh, plus 358.
That's more.
And
like it.
real quick, I want to see if the community hit yesterday because I don't want to say the community's hit. I don't want to be accused of being a liar here. So I think it hit yesterday. Yesterday was Lions 1, Packers 1, but they didn't cover. Ravens, no. Community had Ravens. So the community parlay did not hit yesterday. So the hot streak ended. So maybe they'll start another one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Back same time tomorrow. Make sure you check out Lindy's stuff. Give him a follow on Twitter. Like he said, he posts every night for the next day. So when you wake up in the morning or before you go to sleep, you can watch his stuff for the next day. Everyone, have a